Mr. Speaker, I rise to speak in support of the bill presented before the House by the Attorney General and Minister of Economy. But when Honorable Charlie mentioned about Tiki Nombau, he's really referring to Longani area, the Wungalei people. Mr. Speaker, I would not worry too much about the bitterness spewed from the mouth of Honorable Ngerengere Tambua, especially as a proxy of Richard Naidu and Mandro Lis. Don't worry too much about it. Mr. Speaker, I rise the objective of the Principal Act is on the civil registration recording of the births, deaths and marriages registry in order to establish one's status of existence in the eyes of the law. Mr. Speaker, I must say that I'm very disappointed in the views and interpretation from members on the other side of the House, particularly those that have not understood about how can this amendment give away the rights of women in Fiji. Sir, members of the other side of the House, such as the likes of Honorable Tambuya, fail to understand that through this side of Parliament, Fiji remains a signatory to the Convention of the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, and the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action in 1995. As a signatory, Mr. Speaker, there is no way that this amendment will see the rights of women to vote in this country being taken away. We are dedicated to continue our commitment in ensuring that women are included in all the processes. The amendment, Mr. Speaker, will ensure that we give women equal status to register their child soon after birth, which under the current law is the right given to the father. Mr. Speaker, there are a lot of speculations and interpretations politicizing the amendments before us. Speculations and interpretations led by most members on the other side to create fear in our people. As Minister responsible for iTaukei affairs, let me assure this august House today, as well as all Fijians, that the amendment bill does not have any consequences on the culture, the registration of iTaukei in the Vola and Kawa Bula, and its maintenance. Mr. Speaker, the VKB is not under attack from the amendment. Registration of new births under the Birth, Death and Marriage Registration Act is separate and different to the registration in the Vola and Kawa Bula under the iTaukei Lands Act 1905. First and foremost, Mr. Speaker, the difference is that BDM registration is meant for all Fijians, while the VKB registration is meant for iTaukei people only. Fijians now no longer need a deed poll for any name change. They need to not go through the cumbersome process, again, of visiting lawyers and paying high costs to change their own name. Sir, improvements in business processes and review of relevant laws aligned to international best practices of having only one name name identity across the board, whether it be a passport, driver's license, FNPF, or voter ID, all information are harmonized, maintaining authenticity and leaving no room for manipulation. Such amendments, Mr. Speaker, are not plucked out of thin air, but are made after careful thought and consideration of its legal, social, and economic implications. Sir, the amendments ultimately support government's continued vision and mission of improving and investing in crucial sectors for the benefit of all Fijians. It also, Mr. Speaker, will ensure that there is a single source of identification, thereby making government services a lot more streamlined, targeted, and it will assist in removing corruption and create transparency, stop identity theft, and ensure the government resources are not wasted. Sir, I support the bill.
I thank the Honourable Prime Minister for his contribution to the debate. Honourable members, I now call on the Attorney General to speak and reply. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, there's a few matters that are raised by the other side that requires a response, sir. I think the problem with the opposition has been that, notwithstanding the facts and the rationale being given to them over the past few days and earlier this morning, and giving them all the factual matters that will take place, they developed a narrative, and they've come today with a narrative, and they will stick to that narrative come what may. And unfortunately for them, they've decided to excavate themselves into a bigger hole. That's what they're doing. Before I respond, Honorable Gerengere Tambua said because I called her role in the business committee incompetent, she said I was therefore sexist. That's completely getting it all wrong. Again, incompetent, because it would be sexist if I call only females incompetent.